$9 million, a $9 million settlement to a black man who was incarcerated wrongly. Let's put up his picture, full mask. Innocent man spent 22 years in jail, has now won a $9 million decision. Patrick Prince said he confessed to another man's murder and attempted robbery at 19 after being slapped in the face, kicked, and punched by retired Chicago police detective Kriston Kato, who is married to a criminal county judge. Prince's is one of the 8 cases where people have accused Kato of using violence and intimidation to get a false confession. The Chicago City Council agreed to give Prince the settlement award on September 21st. Okay, let me give you background as to what happened with Mr. Prince and how he was actually set up. Police said they received a tip that Prince killed Edward Porter in August 1991, and he had been going around robbing drug dealers and their customers. The tipster told police Porter was on the west side of Chicago buying drugs when Prince tried to rob him. Porter refused to submit, and Prince shot him, the caller said. However, a witness gave a description of the lone gunman that matched Hobbin Linson. Linson was near the scene, but he was questioned and released. Keith Gunn actually admitted. Keith Gunn admitted that he was the tipster who linked Prince to the crime. Gunn said under oath that he wanted to get back at Prince for stealing a woman he liked. He thought the police would just harass him and never thought he would be charged with the crime. He said, wait a minute, I know he didn't do it. I know he wasn't there. And so I did this very evil thing, put the police on him because I thought they would just harass him, inconvenience his life. No, he's a black male. They're going to pin this on him, and then they are going to make sure it sticks. They don't give a damn about his guilt or innocence. They give a damn about what? Their own bias and racism. That's what they cared about. That is their God. Their own prejudice to take away a human being from society because you worship not values or a God of values. You worship the God of your racism and ego. And you behave in that manner. Prince had requested to the judge during his pretrial hearing to suppress his confession. He testified that Kato barged into his girlfriend's house, pulled him from his bed with his gun drawn, and took him to the police station where he beat the confession out of him. Kato said another man, Jeffrey Williams, confessed to giving him the murder weapon. Prince's case went to trial in 1994. The state initially sought the death penalty, but he was convicted on August 24th, 1994, and sentenced to 60 years in prison for murder and 25 concurrent years for armed robbery. Prince fought his conviction for several years, even without an attorney at times. The National Registry of Exonerations shows. In April 2017, think about how much time has passed. April 2017, a Cook County Circuit Court judge granted the petition Mr. Prince filed in 2014 for a new trial. Local prosecutors dismissed the charges the following month. They knew immediately this was a bad case. Here's the reality. They knew it was a bad case back then. They knew it was a bad case when he told the judge how it happened. But remember, the cop who did this was married to who? A judge. Prince received a certificate of innocence from Illinois in 2018, and the state compensated him for more than $226,500. He filed the lawsuit the same year. The Chicago City Council agreed to pay a total of $25 million to Prince and 2 other people last Wednesday, including a $15 million settlement to the family of a civilian killed during a high-speed chase in Chicago. Chicago officials said the city could have doled up to $25 million to Prince alone if the case had actually gone fully to trial, right? So they knew how wrong they were. Once again, systemic corruption, racial bias, it impacts us all. This is not just in a vacuum. These things degrade the condition of our societal construct. Don't believe that just because it has not happened to you, that it will not impact you. So we highlight these stories to make sure you are aware of the systemic injustice that takes place primarily against individuals who are people of color. A.B, thoughts here?
Yeah, this one hits close to home because my brother is on his 16th year of being wrongfully convicted. And one thing I can say is that there's not an amount of money that could ever fix what you lose when you are wrongfully convicted in prison. Okay, you have to take into consideration all of the stress that comes with that, the dangers that you're dealing with, the birthdays that you missed, the births, the deaths, everything has been missed that no amount of money could ever pay back. This is why we need more oversight. This is why we need better legislation when it comes to police officers and their interrogation practices, right? Because this happens far too often. And now we are seeing these cases from the 90s finally being overturned. I'm glad that in this case, they dismissed it immediately because there's so many counties in the United States that will fight tooth and nail, knowing they are dead wrong to not overturn a wrongful conviction.
At this point, it's time for the federal government to create a department under the Department of Justice to literally look at all cases in this country that are problematic prosecutions, problematic convictions. It's time to do that. It is time to free American citizens. It is time to free those who are on American soil and convicted simply because they did not have money or influence. It is time.